Filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri has occasionally said that films have by and large reflected the prevailing sentiment of our society, and he illustrates his statement with the following points, to which I have added a few of my own. The 50s and the 60s. As an independent country, India had to chart out a path to the future for which a progressive psyche was necessary. The party that was characterized by liberalism and which superheaded the pre-independence national movement, the Indian National Congress, was at the helm of affairs. Accordingly, the English-educated intellectuals dominated the academic and intellectual space. While there was no doubt about the fact that the British policies ruined the Indian economy, as established by none other than among the foremost economists in the world at that time, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, it was also accepted that English education opened the average Indian to a liberal globalist outlook and enabled him to challenge the cycles of traditionalism. Consequently, films appeared to possess a pro-Christian tilt in the 50s and 60s, the 70s and the 80s. Most of the stalwarts of the national movement were socialist in their economic thinking, owing to their sympathy towards the plight of the poor. Accordingly, India adopted a socialist form of economy post-independence. Only a handful had a fortune of establishing private companies thanks to the licensed Raj system that was instrumental in making stringent red tapeism a norm in government procedures. Schemes after schemes for the poor were rolled out. Green Revolution was responsible for increasing the agricultural yield to quite an extent, thus intensifying the feelings of hope. Indeed, historian Bipan Chandra has noted in the book India Since Independence that the years under Pandit Nehru were those of optimism, and after a few years of turmoil thereafter, the optimism peaked with India's resounding victory in the 1971 war against Pakistan, formally establishing Indira Gandhi as a mass leader. Consequently, the films that characterized the 70s and 80s more often than not showed the protagonist as a poor, humble and kind-hearted man struggling to make ends meet, whereas the antagonist was a rich, conniving and exploitative businessman who worshipped nothing but money and eventually crossed paths with the protagonist. It may also be theorized that the popularity of the angry young man character of the films reflected the opinion of the people regarding state machinery, corrupt and inefficient, forcing the protagonist to resort to vigilantist methods of justice. The 90s and the post-century. With the much-needed economic reforms of 1991, India headed to the era of liberalization, privatization and globalization. Subsequent years saw foreign companies setting up outlets in the country and the Indian economy taking off in an unprecedented manner. All of a sudden, there were many more jobs available, the private sector was not so negative anymore, foreign goods started gaining a substantial share in the market and they were now trendy and cool. Consequently, the era of the pro-poor, angry young man protagonist came to a close and the era of a stylish, anglicized NRI protagonist began. Indeed, Indian films began popularizing the use of Western slang. On a side note, the protagonists, in order to appear stylish, had to converse in a fake accent. Of late, institutions that seek to question the peddled narrative of history, economy, politics, etc. have started gaining momentum. People have started slowly but steadily questioning and posing elitism and want the truth out. Conversations of, hey, 2nd October is the birth anniversary of Lal Bahadur Shastri as well. What a dedicated, energetic man Subhash Chandra Bose was, have started doing rounds, and while there is no denying that Gandhi and Nehru were stalwarts in their own right, their monopoly over the Indian narrative has started decreasing and other figures have now becoming popular. Consequently, we have investigative films such as the Tashkent Files, Gumnami, etc. which seek to question the historically peddled government propagandas. The system that we see currently posing questions against the status quo and trying to change it is in its infancy. While it has begun gathering momentum and has slowly started showing its tilt towards the pro-culture political parties, it would take time to mold and shape the society's opinion and knowledge base further. Needless to say, it is a matter of disrepute to our country that our people are disconnected from such a rich culture. There are many institutions that seek to popularize a narrative that is rooted in the Indian culture. This is the academic route, where those in the intelligentsia unearth history that never made it to the stream of education and hold discussions, seminars and talks regarding the same. A question may be raised as to whether this is getting reflected in films. I would say that there has been a start, however I submit that the films may be subpar if seen through the lens of the academia. 2019 brought forth several good films indicating the willingness of the industry to not merely earn money but also to communicate a message.